If you watched my shard pulling video for Sun Wukong on my secondary channel, which I think I'm now probably going to condense into my primary channel, you'll know that I actually pulled a couple duplicate versions of XARIS, one of the best AOE mages inside the entire game. So I wanted to do a showcase and a guide and talk a little bit more about this particular hero today and kind of show off what he is capable of. So this is how he looks here. Absolutely fantastic looking hero in my opinion. Very unique design, definitely like something you'd see in like Dark Souls or something like that. I could totally imagine this guy being a boss that you'd have some trouble getting past, that's for sure. Let's go ahead, let's take a look at his kit. He has an A1 when there are no Souls of the Damned on the field, or basic attack I should say instead. Restores 10 rage per second. When there are Souls of the Damned on the field, the hero's basic attack will launch Coercion. Instead, basic attack is unaffected by attack speed bonus. Coercion is attacking one Soul of the Damned every 4 seconds, increasing their damage by 40% for 5 seconds, yet reducing their existence time by 5 seconds. So what are Souls of the Damned? Well, Souls of the Damned inherit 100% of the Master's attributes and assist the Master in attacking enemies in range. Each attack deals 80% AOE magic damage to up to 5 enemies. Souls of the Damned exist for 30 seconds. So this is very, very strong. He has a passive here. When summoned, Souls of the Damned enhance their next 3 attacks, each dealing 220% damage and inflicting slow. Another passive, after any Souls of the Damned disappear, the existence of the remaining Souls of the Damned will be extended by a full 2 seconds, which is pretty cool. And finally, his ultimate summons 4 Souls of the Damned and reduces the summoned number by 1 with each ultimate cast. A minimum of 1 Souls of the Damned will be summoned. So this guy is very much based on, hey, put me down, I'm going to do ridiculous amounts of damage for you, but as the fight goes on, I'm not going to be as good, right? So you kind of want to use him in areas where you're just bursting through content very quickly, or where you're picking him up and then putting him back down. So Gear Raid 2 is a perfect example. AOE Arena is a perfect example, and we're going to be showcasing him in some of those areas. Now I have him Awakened 2. So Awakened 1 is going to summon 2 extra Souls of the Damned when first deployed, which is very, very strong, obviously. So that's going to be a huge increase to the damage. And Awakened 2 just gives him plus 300 attack, which is pretty cool. Now, for the rest of his awakenings, when there are no Souls of the Damned on the field, each time the hero restores rage, there's a 5% chance to instantly gain full rage, which is cool. However, it's not the most useful because you can't rely on this for content, right? So when you're setting up auto battles and whatnot, you know, this isn't something that you can really depend on, which is a bit of a shame. Awaken 4, penetration plus 8, that's basically just defense ignore, which is very strong. And then Awaken 5 increases the effect duration of Coercion and on Souls of the Damned by 5 seconds. So they're going to have that boost for 10 seconds instead of the 5 seconds, which is pretty cool. Now, how do you want to build this guy? Well, that's a very interesting question, because when I first read his kit, I thought, hey, this guy doesn't really want attack speed, right? Because it says very clearly, basic attack is unaffected by attack speed bonus. However, the important thing is that Souls of the Damned do inherit the caster's attributes, the master's attributes, which means that any sort of attack speed bonuses that you have on XARIS are going to carry over to the summons as well. So it is actually important to build him with some sort of attack speed. This is the build that we have on him. This is certainly not, you know, early game friendly or anything like that, but I'm showing you basically the best version of him that I have on my account. So these are the total attributes, almost 16,000 attack. We have 399 on the attack speed, 111 on the crit rate, 303 on the crit damage there. This is a very strong build. For sets, you're really looking to get him into like a Soulbound Arcana or something like that, just so the damage is increasing after each cycle of his ultimate, essentially. Especially once you've cycled him a few times and the ultimate is only putting out like 1 enemy or something like that, or rather 1 summon, you want that summon to be doing as much damage as possible, obviously. This guy doesn't need a set, though. You could easily put him in a broken set, and he's going to do absolutely fantastic work. For the artifact, I'm going to have him in a maxed out tier of Twilight. I think this is hands down the best artifact that you could possibly have on this particular hero. You could also do very good with attacking slowed targets if you have him paired with like a Mari or something like that. You know, there's a lot of other things you could use. A Tidal Ring wouldn't be terrible if you're trying to use him in Gear Raid 1 or areas like that. There's a lot of different artifacts that you could use on him. Use what suits your account, right? Anything that's boosting AOE damage, slowing enemies, or just boosting damage as a whole is going to do fantastic things. So let's go ahead And let's go into the arena here. We are actually in the AOE DPS arena, which is pretty cool. But I want to start by taking him in on the defense so I can show you essentially how he works and how well he does this, right? So obviously inside the AOE arenas right now, it's absolutely dominated by somebody like a Ingrid or those sorts of champions, but she has very high cost. So this guy is a 12 cost mage, which I forgot to go over, and just look at what he's capable of, right? So have you seen any other 12 cost hero that's capable of doing this? Summoning enemies and boom, you're already done wave 1. The only other hero I've ever seen who's capable of doing something like this is going to be Hatsut. And we're done, like, basically almost done wave 2 already. It's just these guys left, right? We should still have the summons up by the time they come to us, and it's going to be over. No questions asked. Wave 2's already done. Hatsut is the only other hero that I've seen who is capable of doing something even close to this. We can now pop his ultimate and summon more of the Souls of the Damned there to get some extra work done as well. And you can see just how much damage he is doing to these enemies. It is absolutely ridiculous. His potential DPS output, right? So you see he's also empowering them when they look a little bit different like that. They are doing extra damage and whatnot, but he's also reducing their lifespan. So it's a bit of a trade-off there, which I certainly think is a fair trade-off. The one thing with XARIS to consider is that he's so good at what he does that you have to be careful when you're setting up your defense teams, because it's very likely that you're going to kill the enemy team just so fast, right? That you're going to take out the enemies so fast that the other team's going to be stuck fighting it, so you then have to like pop your ultimate on the next round essentially to wipe them, right? And I'll show you that in the arena, so you can see how strong he is. And obviously this is an absolutely cracked out build, but he can do work in builds that aren't this good. I've used him without the Tear of Twilight on there, so I ran him without any sort of artifact just to see what he was capable of, and it wasn't a huge performance hit. Obviously you want to use him with somebody like a Dolores on the side or something like that to kind of make up for that extra DPS that you're going to lose. So absolutely just melting through the enemies, right? Obviously we're going to go ahead and quit the battle. I'm not going to save this because I do already have my AoE defense set up. Now I do have some new champions that I want to try and implement, or heroes, champions, whatever. The name, I'm going to use it interchangeably. It's basically the same thing, let's be honest, right? So I have some new additions to the team that I want to introduce. So I pulled Praetus yesterday while I was at work, which was just absolutely phenomenal. I pulled one singular Ancient Shard to get my daily summon done, and he popped out. It was a blast. My mouth was just open. I didn't even know what to say. I have Valkyra who could be paired with him. There's obviously Constance that can power him up. Like, there's so many good options. So I want to try and build those. If you have, you know, team compositions that you use or something like that, certainly feel free to let me know down in the comments below. But we're going to take on a team like this. This is the team that we're using. It's not incredibly accessible, right? So obviously we have Demi, who's a very good lord for the Cursed Cult faction. We have Cerberus, who I think a lot of players will probably have by now. We have Honora, who was a guaranteed at one point, so if you've been playing for long enough, there's a decent chance you have her. We have XARIS, and then Cyrene. Cyrene's obviously the most accessible part of this team. With the AoE DPS arena, you can certainly see how, like, other heroes are essentially finding their way into this. Like, Hatsut is a big one. And you'll see, we summon, and that's just the first wave. The first wave is dead. They're done. That's it. That's it. That is it. Like, you can see how much health they're going to be chunked off now, because it's so hard to try and get the wave killed that fast if you don't have XARIS. He's ridiculous. The second wave is already down. It's done. It's over. This guy is obscenely good. Now, of course, as the battle goes on, he gets weaker and weaker, so you can see as his summons start to disappear, things take a little bit longer to clear, and we actually start losing rounds, right? And my team isn't set up the absolute best or anything like that, so it's very possible that we actually end up losing this fight. I'll try to switch it over to manual here so that I can get like some extra ults in and all those sorts of good things, but he's so strong. You pair him with the correct like AoE DPS apart from himself, and he's just going to absolutely put people down without any sort of questions asked. And I think we might get this win here. I'm certainly hoping we will, at least. I'm not entirely sure, though. Let's see. It doesn't look like we will because, yeah, there we go. So I need to get this team figured out a little bit because it is a very solid team, but we do lose more than I would like to, certainly. So they do actually get through us there, which is a bit of a shame. I'm thinking Cerberus might be good to be replaced by Valkyra, so Valkyra can kind of like you know, build up over time. This team was damn near 100,000 player power stronger than me, though, and you've seen how quickly we wiped out those first waves. I don't know about you, but there's not another hero that I've found in the game that's capable of doing insanity like that. Let's go ahead. Let's hop over to the Gear Raid. Now, before you judge me too hard, I'm just going to preface this by saying I've only beaten Gear Raid 219. However, I've beaten 321 and I've beaten 121. So judge me as you will. Gear Raid 2 sucks, okay? I don't like trying to beat it. It's terrible. But I'm going to go in here with XARIS, and I'm essentially going to show you how good he is, right? So we obviously have Power of Dominance on and all those sorts of things, but we have these enemies that come in here, and there's a lot of heroes that can do this, but realistically, XARIS is going to be the best way to clear this. You put him down, he summons his little minions, and the enemy rock tanks or rock golems are just deleted. There's nothing more to it. That's it. You can go ahead, pick up XARIS, just hang out while the boss comes out, does his thing, right? It's taking a while. We have lots of cost built up. Usually you'd have to put down like a Dolores and then a Maul and things like that to really get the fight done. But nope, in this case, you can simply just straight up have your XARIS in there and he'll do the job on his own. It's absolutely ridiculous. Let me know down below if you have this guy and where you use him. The last thing I'll show you here real quick too is actually the ratings for this particular hero, because you might be wondering, where can I use him? Well, he is good pretty much everywhere. Let's go ahead and take a look at those ratings. So if I can find him here somewhere, he's more up here, I think. Right here. The ratings, as you can see on him, 5s in a lot of areas and then very high apart from that. So obviously Arena AOE DPS, he's one of the best heroes for it. Gold raid, very solid. The raids are going to be so quick. Same with XP raid. Those raids are going to be so quick that he can easily be put down and you'll get like really good benefits out of his summons. Faction trials, obviously fantastic. Gear Raid 1, fantastic. Tide. Basically everywhere you can think of, this guy's going to be at least like a 4, right? Titanic runes, not so much, because he does very much get weaker as the fight goes on. Because, for example, with his talent, he only summons this when he's first deployed. So if the talent was a bit different, where he summons those 3 Souls of the Damned when he's deployed, that would be pretty cool, even if he had a longer deploy time. So something like a Cerberus or something like that, I think would be pretty cool. But this guy's very much just made for, you know, absolutely bursting everybody down and then moving on to the next piece of content, essentially. Like I was saying, though, let me know down below if you guys use this particular hero, where you use him, how you have him built, the stats, and who you like to pair him with. I'd be very interested to hear about it. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.